I always thought HOAs were just a mild annoyance like those robocalls about your car's extended warranty. Until the morning I woke up and found a fence being built 6 feet into my yard, right where my grandma's rose bushes used to bloom. No warning, just a pack of guys in neon vests hammering posts into the dirt like they were claiming land for some new country. I walked out, coffee still in hand, trying not to lose it, and asked what the heck they were doing. The guy barely looked up perimeter fence HOA orders. That's when Marlene Pierce, queen of the neighborhood, came strutting up like she was about to list my house on Zillow. She's got this smile, the type, all teeth and no warmth, like she enjoys telling you bad news. "It's not your lawn." "Not anymore," she chirped, handing me some paper that was about as official as a fast food receipt. "Take it up with the board if you got an issue, next open forums in 3 months. Yeah, that happened. Now, I'm not one to start a war over a few feet of grass, but this was personal. I dug out my granddad's old files, deeds, surveys, the whole 9 yards, spread them out on my kitchen table like I was mapping out a treasure hunt. The line was clear as day, stamped by the county, and the fence was on my side. 6 feet or 6 inches, it was mine. I made copies, laminated the originals, call me paranoid, but I've watched enough true crime to know documents have a way of disappearing when money's involved. So I did what anyone would do. Showed up at the next board meeting, evidence in hand. You'd think waving a stamped deed would do the trick, right? Nope. Marlene just leaned back, syrupy sweet, said the beautification project had been voted on and I could file a dispute if I wanted. Oh, and she slapped me with a $200 fine for obstructing an approved project before I could even sit down. That's how it started. Mailbox too black, grass too long, garden gnomes too cheerful. Marlene's rulebook got thicker and my fines stacked up like poker chips at a Vegas table. By the end of the month, she claimed I owed over $22,000. Neighbors stopped looking me in the eye. I get it, nobody wants to catch heat from the clipboard mafia. But here's the thing, I realized I wasn't just up against some petty tyrant. I was fighting someone who built an empire on fear and apathy. And as much as she loved her rules, I had one advantage: she couldn't find a way. See, my granddad was meticulous. Digging deeper, I found a lease, old, yellowed, almost forgotten, where he'd leased a chunk of our land to some development group, including the exact spot where the HOA headquarters now sat. Lease term, 99 years. Expired last year. I double-checked with the county. Turns out I owned the dirt right under their feet. Yeah, the HOA's shiny office built on my property. The look on my face, that grin when you find $20 in your coat from last winter? Multiply that by 1,000. Called my lawyer, Dana. She's sharp, doesn't mince words. We sat at her office, paperwork between us, and she says, "You can evict them, Sue, for back rent or renegotiate. You've got them." For the first time since Marlene set foot in my life, I felt the ground shift. We drafted an eviction notice, clean, professional, no threats, just business. And I waited for the next board meeting, not to make a scene, but to watch the power flip. But first I played it smart. I started listening, really listening. Found out Linda at the cul-de-sac got fined for not repainting her steps after surgery. Mr. Rodriguez was cited for his trash cans, even though he's legally blind. ADA violations, bylaw breaches, budget, funny business, the works. I kept files, photos, emails, every little scrap of Marlene's control. If she wanted a war, I was building an arsenal. Then came the fence party. Marlene threw a bash to celebrate the new eyesore, balloons, lemonade, the works. Neighbors smiled for the cameras, pretending they weren't exhausted from years of fines. But I watched from the back, letting her dig her own hole because timing matters, and I wanted her to feel safe right up until the ground gave way. At the next board meeting, I walked up with the eviction notice. Dead silence except for a neighbor's pin clattering to the floor. Marlene tried to laugh it off, but I saw her hands tremble. "You're trespassing," I said. "Lease expired." She tried the tough act, but everyone saw it. Her power was slipping. Not 24 hours later, there were emergency flyers on every mailbox. Marlene calling me a menace. The board suing me for defamation and harassment, spinning tales about me turning the office into a strip mall. Dana shredded their lawsuit in court like old receipts. The judge gave the HOA 30 days to clear out. Marlene stormed out so fast, her purse almost swung around and hit her. I wish I could say it ended there, but folks like her never back down easy. She filed petty fines, spread rumors, redirected my mail, even dumped trash on my lawn. It got nasty, but I documented everything, kept calm, built my case for harassment. Neighbors started coming out of the woodwork, sharing their own stories, bringing old fines, letters, even recordings. Turned out I wasn't alone. Nobody likes a dictator in a pantsuit. The local paper picked up the story, and suddenly HOA Gone Rogue was the headline. People slowed down in front of Marlene's house, notes appeared on the bulletin board, and for 2 days she didn't leave her house. Public opinion flipped overnight. Eviction day rolled in like a summer storm, sheriff's deputy at my side, movers hauling out boxes, Marlene clutching her clipboard like it could save her. She even chained herself to the doors, but the deputies just read the notice and walked her off the lot. Keys changed sign, replaced Community Resource Center coming soon. Later she approached me. No clipboard, just a plain folder and shaky hands. She quit, dissolved the board, signed away every bogus fine. No apology, just tired eyes, and finally, nothing left to hold on to. The neighborhood exhaled a quiet I hadn't heard in years settled in. No more patrols, no more violation slips, just kids playing in the street, neighbors talking on lawns instead of peeking out windows. We turned the old HOA office into a real community center, yoga, tutoring, knitting circles, Dana giving workshops on property rights. The walls went from gray to bright mismatched couches, replaced stiff chairs, and the giant HOA logo got painted over by neighborhood kids. We went through every rule, kept the basics, tossed the nonsense, refunded every unfair fine. People smiled again the way they used to before Marlene's reign. I started getting calls from other townspeople asking how we did it. My advice: know your rights, read your deeds, and document everything. Bullies thrive on silence and confusion. When you push back, when you remind folks they have a choice, the whole game changes. As for Marlene, she disappeared for a while, put her house up for sale, slipped out at night with her files packed tight. Rumor has it she tried her luck at another HOA, but word travels. You can't outrun your own history. Someone always knows the story. Now, most mornings I sit on my porch, coffee and hand grass, a little too long, garden gnomes lined up where they belong. The wind chimes Grandma hung years ago sing when the breeze comes through, and nobody tells me they're a violation anymore. Sometimes I wonder if Marlene ever figures out where she went wrong. Maybe she never will. Doesn't matter, I'm finally at peace, and so is the neighborhood. That's my story. So what do you think? Was I right to fight, or did I go too far? Where's the line between keeping order and abusing power? I'd love to hear your take. Drop a comment. Let's see what justice looks like in your neighborhood.